Right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Speak on It. I'm your host, Dom. Got my co-host with me, my man Tim. Got my man Biv with me. Um, y'all know what it is. It's Awareness Monday. We got a special guest in the audience with us. We got my in the audience, a special guest on the show with us. Uh, we got my man Raheam Porter. He is a well. Listen, I'm gonna let him tell y'all about himself. You know what I mean? But I'm excited about the show. I got him with me. He's gonna be kicking it with us for the next hour and a half. But before we jump right into the show, y'all know what it is. If y'all like us, make sure y'all share this video with your friends. Let them know that we are on live. Go to our YouTube page, like that, subscribe there. Go to our Instagram page, go to our Spotify page. Make sure that y'all are connecting with us on all of our platforms and all of our levels. That way you can keep up with the content and the things that we are doing. But without further ado, I'm gonna let my man Raheem take the floor and introduce yourself.
How you guys doing, man? First off, I want to just say I appreciate the platform, and I appreciate the invite. You guys have me on the show. I think it's awesome just to have this platform for different individuals to come together, man, and tell my life experience, my business experience, and so forth. So, needless to say, I'm Raheam Porter. Actually, it's Lindbergh Raheam Porter, better known as Raheam Porter. I'm a realtor, a real estate agent right here in Delaware. Newcastle, Sussex, and Kent County. My license only stretches right here in the state. This is my third year in business. I'm actually not even from Delaware. I moved to the state with my family back in 2015. Shortly after, I ran into some individuals, and I decided the real estate was going to be the path where I can impact the most lives, man. And so I jumped right in.
Hold on, baby. You moving fast. He moving fast.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
No. You good. What we want to do because we wanted that might be one of the questions that we're gonna ask you.
All right.
But we wanted to do is, I mean, let's just talk about just right there. Yeah, I mean, what were you doing before real estate? Yeah, I mean, that actually that pushed you into real estate.
Okay, I could all right, I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna answer the immediate question. What was I doing right before real estate? Right before real estate, I was selling cell phones at AT&T.
Okay.
All right, I was at AT&T for almost 2 years. Right at a year and a half, and so I was in sales, so to speak. A lot of people don't think real estate is sales related, but it is. And before that, it goes back, it goes deep, man. So I'm sure we'll get into that before, as the show goes on. So right before real estate in in August of 2017, I was selling phones at AT&T off Pulaski Highway, right in front of Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay. 1839 Pulaski was the address.
Okay. I don't, Dave, you got a question for him, or we just keep going?
Nah, you just keep going.
All right, cool. To mine.
Hey man, well, just welcome to the show, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
coming out,
you, man.
Say welcome to everybody. So as far as real estate, what really piqued your interest as far as getting into the game of real estate?
I'm gonna give it to you real straight, man. As far as real estate, I had no interest in real estate whatsoever. Period. I mean, my interest has grown since this is what I do for a living. This is how I put food on the table. But honestly, my thing is helping people, man. That was my thing. That's been my niche my whole life. And I was able to get into a field where I feel as if one of the biggest impacts in their lives, man.
That's good.
So it ain't the real estate. It ain't real estate. It's the people associated with it.
Yeah, impacting. I think anything that you do, you should have that approach. Like what Raheem said is, what impact can I have on somebody's lives? What am I doing to change somebody's life? That's probably the number one purchase that you're ever going to make in your lifetime. I mean, that the average person is going to make in their lifetime. And you wanted to make sure that it's the right one, it's the right fit, and and am I actually changing your life? You know what I mean? It's not really just a transaction, but it's walking with them through that whole process. And I mean, for most people, it could be a starter home, or it could be I mean, their dream home. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And walking with them through that process, letting them know that you are a part of that dream. I think that's impactful. And that's a great way to look at it. You know what I mean? They're not just another number to you.
Exactly.
But I'm actually helping you accomplish a dream, a goal of yours that you've had for your whole life.
Of course.
You go ahead, Tom. Listen up.
No, I know what you said that you're not from around here. Have you seen a difference as far as I mean, we can jump right into the real estate. Have you seen a difference as far as the markets is concerned between from where you're originally from in this area?
Oh my God, yes, man. So I was born in up in New York, Jamaica, Queens, New York. But shortly after, I was born, my grandparents decided to retire, and they moved to a little small town in South Carolina called Georgetown. So I mean, just to say, the average price point in Georgetown, South Carolina, you're talking about 100,000. 100,000, you living good.
Yeah.
You living 4 beds, 2 bathroom, backyard. Up here, $100,000 is the average starter home. You really, it may be even decent to find a starter home for that price. So huge difference as far as markets. Price points are completely different. Cost of living is different. Where $12 down there, you are right. $12 here, you're gonna need 2 or 3 jobs maybe.
It's crazy how, I mean, the cost of living in the different areas, like you said, as far as 100,000, what it can get you down there, and what the affordability is in that area for, you know what I mean, like in a sense, not 11,000, but $11 an hour to $12 an hour paying a job down there, you living good, you know what I mean, in certain areas, in certain pockets of Southeast, you know what I mean, United States,
Mm-hmm.
whereas up here, that's struggle, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's I know with you being local, on the consumer side, what do you think is the, I guess, the shooting point as far as the prices wise? As when I say prices wise, meaning what would be the number one reason why there would be rejection for all, in a sense? Would it be the prices are too high, or?
Well, are you speaking as if we're taking a buyer out and he's making an offer on a property?
Well, no, not necessarily. Well, in a sense, yeah.
Well, I mean, if
Meaning,
you're
like,
talking about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
because looking at the affordability and looking at the jobs in the area and the income, and we're talking specifically just for Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just talking as far as $100,000 house can get you a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, whereas in this area, in this market, 40,000 and below, you know what I mean? What is the price point that you're looking at as far as the range of house to shoot for, in a sense?
Well, I you really can't answer that question directly, honestly, because everyone's scenario is different. Where so, if I grew up in a lower income family, or so to speak, or no one in my family ever owned a property, that $100,000 house may be ideal. Or if you're coming from a large family and you guys, grew up in Middletown, so to speak, a $100,000 price point may be something that you wouldn't even consider. So me personally, when it comes to shopping with clients, there is, I mean, the price point. I've sold a house for 16,000, and I've sold homes for 400,000. So I don't really even, and honestly, when it comes down to the price point, whatever you want to go see, whatever you're interested in, that's the price point that we're going to shop around. And I don't try to guide or steer towards any specific price point, or because you never know what someone's situation may be financially.
That's good. That's good. Like you said, that go back to you listening to your client,
Yes.
and hearing what their actual goal is. You know what I mean? What fits them and fits their situation. And like you said, it doesn't really matter what level they're at. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a business, so we do want to get compensated for our time. But it's really understanding what the client wants and what the customer wants, and actually trying to go out and figure out what their dream home looks like. But one of the questions I have for you, is you said you worked in cell phones, and I think me and you talked about this before. But how did the things or the the tools that you got from working in cell phones, how did you take those tools and those skills and translate them over into the real estate game?
Well, all right, good question. So honestly, just I mean, a few of the basics, just organization, follow up. Follow up was huge. With anyone that worked in the cell phone industry know that we were partly commission based.
Mhm.
So, with commission based jobs, you have most of the time you have sales goals. So just following up with different individuals. People come in and they may be looking at a group of to switch over from say Verizon and come over to T-Mobile or whatever the case may be, but they're not ready to move right then. They just want information. So we're responsible for getting that information over to them and following up in a few days to seeing if they're ready to come on over. Same thing with real estate, man. This isn't hey one shot kill. It's trust me, it takes sometimes numerous attempts before you even get an individual to shop with you, whether you're on the buying side or the selling side. So they go hand in hand, so to speak. You're dealing with people, not we're not machines, so to speak. So anytime you're dealing with people, you're gonna have similarities.
That's good. Um, Again, this is a follow-up question because I
Yeah.
know part of the question because you talked about it. But you take how did you take the networking side of what you did in AT&T and then flip that over into real estate? Because I think one of the things that you talked about before, you told me that it was a lady that you had networked with in AT&T.
Uh-huh.
Then you reached back to those clients, and
She
well, I'll
was
let you
one of
tell
my
the story,
first
but yeah,
clients.
I'll let
Yeah.
you tell it.
Yeah, she was one of my first clients. So the thing is honestly, I guess with real estate and anything new, you really don't know what you're getting into, when you first get into it. So I didn't know that, once you became an agent, I guess I assumed we just had like a big, huge bag of leads. We just call people and say, hey, you want to buy a house? You want to sell a house? That's not it. You got to get out there and beat the street and find people. So while I was actually taking my real estate class, I was working at AT&T. And trust me, I was happy as all hell. So I was telling everybody that I came in contact with, I'm sitting there working on their phone. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be selling houses in a couple of weeks, So, and then people naturally say, oh, my girlfriend trying to buy, so to speak. Oh, serious? Jotting their name down. And it was kind of a running joke we had in the store, but I was actually jotting their name down. And needless to say, man, once that license came through, I was on. That's when that follow up began. So I started calling people. Hey, look, this is Raheam Porter over from AT&T. I know we had a conversation on March 2nd. I would write the little date down about maybe your niece buying a house. I'm ready to rock and roll now. Can you give me your information? A lot of people would blow me off, but I got one. That first person got my confidence level there, and she referred me her sister-in-law. Then she referred me her guy from work. And needless to say, that one transaction turned into like 6 over the course of a few years. But it's literally just nurturing those leads and just following up with your immediate sphere, the people that you come in contact with on a daily basis. You can't assume that they're not gonna patronize the whatever service you're providing.
Hey man, I want to say that I personally commend you. Reason being is because that me being an introvert, that was one of my failures as far as starting out and getting my license, is actually getting out and networking with people and just really selling yourself in a sense and selling your
That's
service.
that's what it is right there, man. And honestly, and not to interrupt, that's what is all it is. You just I think in the first real estate meeting I went to, they was said don't be 007. And I was like, what the hell they talking about? Don't be 007. It was like don't be a secret agent. And I used to scratch my head like, what do you mean by secret agent? Don't don't let people have to assume what you're doing for a living. So they wanted you to plaster it everywhere. Tell people I was at the laundromat, I'm at Wawa, I'm at the car. Everywhere I saw people, if I saw the whites of your eyes, I was telling you I was a real estate agent. And I started dressing up, man. I started wearing I didn't have much money. I went to H&M, bought me a little halfway decent suit, and I just started dressing the part. You know, I was a couple dollars in my pocket, not really, I mean, literally a couple dollars. But just I wanted to start feeling it, man. And I had some great mentors in the beginning. And literally just my confidence got there, and I just started manifesting it. And you know, I'm still learning, you know, but I'm 3 years strong, and I'm still going at it.
Hey man, you doing your thing, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that, man.
Now, just to piggyback off that, as far as people that want to actually get into the game as far as being a realtor, what and specifically for young Black realtors,
Yes, yes.
what tips would you give them on how to succeed as a realtor today?
First step, take the class, man. Forget everything that somebody's gonna tell you, because the first thing they're gonna tell you, the test is hard. You're gonna hear, as soon as you say, I mean, I can't tell you how many people told me the test is hard. You're not from Delaware. People in Delaware funny. They only deal with other Delaware people. I looked at it. I took it as almost fuel. I'm like, okay, this is what I need. They think I'm a fail. But back to your question, tips. The first tip, do the class, man. Just take the class. Google how to become a real estate agent. Just Google it. It's simple as I don't know what. You're gonna take a course. It's 99 hours in the state of Delaware, which roughly equates to 3 months if you take the the typical class, or they got accelerated courses as well. And literally just start reaching out, man. Start reaching out, Facebook, Instagram. Start reaching out to other agents. YouTube, man. YouTube. I can't stress how important. I mean, and I'm no way, shape, form, or fashion paid by YouTube, but I cannot tell you how much information is on YouTube, just as far as what to do when you first get started.
That's good. That's good. One of the things.
Or call me directly. I'll walk your hand through it, and I'll walk you through it.
You said mentors,
Yes.
which is one of the things that stood out to me. How difficult or easy was it to find mentors? I mean, in the game.
So I got kind of a weird belief system. I'm one of those individuals that I believe when something is for you, it's for you. So, you know what I mean? And even sometimes, you know, we try to make one thing fit into another, and it's not the right fit. It's, you know, it may be not the right timing, or it's just not the right avenue. But I was actually slightly blessed when it came to mentors, because you know, I had some individuals that in my family that were already in the game, and they, you know, they welcomed me with open arms. But I mean, I'm a very positive individual. So personally, I think if you ask for help, that's one thing that we fall short on, especially, I mean, and I'm not going to take this, I'm not going to make this a race thing, a black or white thing, but I'm just going to speak for my African-American brothers. You know, we're very prideful individuals. And what that means is sometimes when we may need that assistance, we're not going to ask for it. So we got to swallow that pride, man. Swallow that pride and ask for help, man. And I guarantee you it's going to be there.
Biv, you had something, Biv? Okay. I did have that. I'm glad that you touched on that, especially the African American part of it.
Yes.
Is how difficult do you think it was to network as an African American real estate agent? How difficult do you think that was? I mean, just to network with, not just with, I mean, other Black realtors, but just everybody.
It was difficult, man, and this is kind of funny, man, because again, I'm not from Delaware. I'm gonna take my hat off for a second, man. So you guys see my hair. I got like a crazy afro right now. So I'm, you know, I ain't seen the barber because of COVID. So you know what I mean. But
hey, listen, we all out there.
We all out there. But I did that to say this, that again, I am an African American male. I got a nice healthy beard. I got a head full of hair. I got a few tattoos, and again, perception unfortunately becomes reality. So you know, I really didn't give off the perception that I was this successful real estate agent, or this one that was knowledgeable in the field. So, I mean, so what I'm trying to say is, when I first started, and this is where, don't do this, but I'm going to tell you guys what I did. when I first started, I cut all my hair off. You know, I got like a real nice clean cut. You know, I cut my beard nice and low. I would wear, you know, I was wearing suits and ties almost every day. And again, it got me into maybe conversations that I may not have gotten in had not looked the part. But once I dropped all of that stuff, man, and presented myself as who I am, my business took off, man. You know, because literally now again, you can be a professional but still be, you know, comfortable or relaxed, so to speak. And what I find, man, once I let that I'm not gonna call it a front, you know, because you know it is what it is. Because you know, based on your career, your profession, you do have to look the part. But I advise individuals to come as you are, man. You know, clean yourself up, of course, be professional, but present yourself as you are because it makes the transaction so much easier. If you trying to front like you some business professional with a 10,000 IQ, the deal's gonna fall apart on you, man. Trust me. Just give the client who you are. Be upfront, be honest, man, and you'll get to the finish line every time.
That's good. That speaks volumes in and of itself. Yeah, I mean, just being yourself.
That's
right?
it, man. Just be yourself. Yes, sir.
People, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it's Jay-Z who said it. I mean, but game recognized game, right?
There you go.
If I am out there trying to present myself as somebody that I'm not, just to try to get in the door or fit into circles, they're gonna recognize that. They're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
see that you're not being authentic. They're gonna see that you aren't who you portray who you are. You know what I mean? But one of the things that I love and I think every business person should adapt is, I was talking to my wife about it earlier, is there's a lane for everybody,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes, sir.
people gonna accept you for with your afro and your beard and yeah, I mean, and your hat and everything like that. You're gonna be able to get into circles just being who you are and talking to who you are. I'm talking like you do, because there's a lane and there's a people for that. Yeah,
Yes,
there's
sir.
people just for you. So what you just said, that spoke volumes to anybody that's listening who actually wants to, you know what I mean, be in the professional field. You know what I mean, you don't have to be in corporate America, or even if you're in corporate America, just be who you are and be yourself. I know this is probably a final thought thing, but but just being who you are. So I do like that what you just said there, Raheem. Second. Somebody, you had another question?
One of the things that you had spoke on was COVID, and
Yes.
how has that impacted your business?
Okay, so of course, I mean, it definitely has been an impact, but what I was able to do is just kind of just switch I mean, not necessarily switch lanes, but it's just pretty much a pivot. You know how anyone, if we got sports players and you know how you're running a route and and there's a defender in front of you, you may have to just cut the quick little cut around that defender. That's all we really had to do. I mean, had to make an adjustment, of course, and with the technology that we have in today's society, man, it's 2020. I mean, I was just FaceTiming my one of my partners in Afghanistan earlier today, man. So we had to just make a shift. Of course, we all know we have the mask and we take precautions with the gloves and whatnot. But what I've been doing when it first hit is honestly just opening up the properties, let the client go in. You know, they go, you know, tour the property. If they like it, they give me a thumbs up, come on out, we lock it up and so forth. So just kind of distancing myself from the client face to face, but FaceTime, Zoom, Facebook calls. I mean, we're still able to come in contact with individuals and get the job done.
Now I know with COVID, it's also affected the Fed and how they've cut their rates, and
Yes.
how that also affects the mortgage rates. How has that been an impact to how business is flowing and how lending process is going as well?
So right now things have actually kind of leveled out. Honestly, rates are extremely low. I honestly, if someone still asks me if right now is the time to buy, I will still tell you yes, even though the world as we know it is in this so-called pandemic. Rates haven't been this low in years. So as far as the lending, in the peak of everything, they I guess they made it. They pretty much raised the criteria. Instead of a 620 credit score to get approved for a FHA back loan, it went up to a 660. Now it's back down to 620. But they have kind of slightly tightened restrictions as far as your debt to income ratio. I'm not at any way, shape, form a financial advisor or a mortgage lender. I'm not gonna quote myself as one. I can refer whoever wants to know some information to a great buddy of mine, and he can pretty much give you the breakdown of rates, the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, the whole 9 yards. That's back to what my man said. Stay in your lane. I stay in my lane when it comes to. I am knowledgeable of it because I watch the market myself. This is what I do, but it can get unless that's your profession. I kind of stay out of certain conversations with it because things in that market change on a daily basis, as you may know.
Understood. This
Yes,
one,
sir.
you know what I mean, for anybody who's looking to buy a home. I mean, I know one of the things with the pandemic is that it's people want to tighten up and not think as far as purchasing a home. But I'm glad that you released that to the audience. That, I mean, right now would be the best time to buy.
Yes.
With that being said, as far as buying is concerned, you are with Coldwell Banker. And
Yes,
I know
sir.
me and Dom had discussed a question. What made you choose Coldwell Banker?
Honestly, and this is kind of a straightforward answer. When I first chose Coldwell Banker, it was solely off the location of the brokerage to my house. I mean, I didn't do any. I mean, and I'm gonna give it to you straight. I'm all about convenience. I have a large family. Right now I'm the sole provider for my family, and I like to, my life is just it's set up to the point where, I set it up, God set it up, the Creator set it up to the point where I can pretty much be home and be displaced and so forth. So I didn't really want a location that I had to drive 45 minutes to, if I wanted to run to the office to meet a client or print out some documents. I wanted something that was convenient. I could shoot over there, come right back to my home office. It's been almost 2 years now, and I love the brokerage. I love the individuals that I'm partnered up with there. But the reason I chose that was because of the location to my house.
Hey, that's real, man. Shoot,
I'm gonna keep it G with you.
That's real.
I wasn't trying to drive.
I tell people all the time that when I first started out in business and stuff like that, man, I used to drive by big buildings and everything like that and be like, man, I want that building to be my building, to say, my business local and everything like that, man. But when you get into business, man, you be like, man, I don't give a darn about no building, bro.
I don't care about,
no building. I'm with you, like convenience. If I could stay home, and do it from the comfort, the convenience of my own home. That's what I want to do. Because I eliminate overhead. I can be in business meetings with a button up on up top and some pajama pants at the bottom. Like like you said, that's what it's about, man. Just convenience, man. And if I can have convenience for myself, and eliminate overhead and all that stuff, man, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's a real straightforward. That's a real answer.
I'm gonna give it to you straight. I don't. You ain't gonna get no fluff, no buffer. I'm gonna give it to you live and direct.
Hey, man, that's how we like it, man. That's how we appreciate it, man.
I watched the show a couple times, man. So I'm like, I'm gonna give it to them how they want it.
Hey, listen, that's how we want to do it, man. That's how we do it. One of the questions that we had. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna jump right into this one because this is the one it was on the fence with. But and you ain't got to answer it. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
No.
I'm gonna throw it out there regardless. One of the things that turned me off with the real estate game, and it's not for everybody, but is the splits. Like you said, when you starting out, man, you beating the pavement, man. You building up that business. But then you got split. So say I got a listing agent, I got a split percentage with that listing agent. Then I got to split the percentage with the brokerage firm. How, and again, like I said, you ain't got to answer it.
No, give it
to me.
But
that's one of the things that turned me off. turn me
Okay.
off to the game. That's one of I did go take the class and everything like that, and the tests and everything like that. But that's one of the things that if I felt as though that if I wanted was doing all the work, I should get a bigger percentage of the cut. Yeah, I mean, so
Understood.
how do you feel about that? How does it work for you? 'Cause, I mean,
Well,
you're doing good for yourself, so clearly, I mean, it's cool. But
well,
how let you answer.
as far as the my outlook again is something's better than nothing. All right. So I'm gonna tell you what sold me on the fact of real estate. When they told me that I was gonna own my own business, when they say you're gonna be a 1099 individual, at that point I didn't know what 1099 meant. You know, I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, 1099. You know, but for the individual that doesn't know, you know, I have Porter Enterprise LLC. So I when they I own that particular business. Now my split isn't bad. When I started, it was kind of rough, but nevertheless, it's no different than an individual who works a W-2 job and you get taxes taken out of your check, because unlike a typical W-2 employee, once you get a commission check via real estate, that check is that check. Now, granted, I file my taxes at the end of the year and I tell Uncle Sam what I paid, what I made, and then I pay him based on that. Um, so the split wasn't really a big deterrent. I mean, now, I mean, I'm 3 years in the game and I'm starting to look around like, all right, so and so might give me a little better split over here, you know. But nevertheless, my goal is, you know, I got a long term goal, and in a few more years, I plan on taking a broker's test, and I plan on opening up my own brokerage for anybody that's out there, real estate related, or if you thinking about getting in the game, or you are in the game and you looking for a new home in 2 years, I will have, you know, with the grace of God, I will have my own brokerage. And I plan on offering great splits, probably better than anybody in the state. Because my thing is, I'm not trying to come up off everybody. I just want to help.
Good.
You know, point blank period. But nevertheless, the split can be determined. But in the beginning, you know, we don't know enough to really negotiate our split. And that's how I looked at it. I was green as I don't know what. I haven't sold. I didn't sell anything. So if they would have said 50-50, I'd have been like, okay. But luckily, it wasn't that. But nevertheless, it can slightly deter individuals. But nevertheless, man, it's just another thing we just got to get over and keep pushing forward. It gets better later on down the line.
So we're going to be multifaceted. I'm going to take the heat off of you a little
Yeah,
bit.
give it. All right.
Let's get into the consumer side.
Okay.
As far as a consumer, what do you think the reason is as to why homes in predominantly urban neighborhoods don't appreciate at the rate of suburban neighborhoods?
Well, I mean, that's an easy answer. I mean, there's no money. It's simple. I mean, if you take a bottle and you poke a hole in it and you ain't pulling that bottle up, you're just gonna drain it out. So needless to say, you have money, tax money coming out of these urban neighborhoods, school tax, city tax, whatever taxes they can possibly think of, they're gonna tax you, and they're sucking that money out. But we both know that they're not pouring money in. You know, the rate that the money is leaving these neighborhoods, unfortunately, is alarming. I mean, they're trickling money in, trickling money, like they're, few drops here and there, but they're sucking money out, unfortunately, man. So that's why those neighborhoods aren't appreciating. Some of them are, unfortunately, depreciating at rapid rates.
Good. Go ahead, Tamai, if you had another question.
Well, just to piggyback off that, as far as like predominantly, we're in Delaware, so
Yes.
an area like Wilmington, for instance, and they have what they call the opportunity zones, which is where investors can get tax breaks off of coming in and building up those areas. Do you see an improvement as far as what the opportunity zones have presented, as far as it being more lucrative, or not even lucrative, but more beneficial for a homeowner to actually purchase a home in the city?
I say yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. As we all know, we probably all heard this term regentrification, and I mean it's easy to if you drive through Wilmington, you can see over there by the riverfront what's going on. I mean, where you can take a few steps back, and it's like night and day. So that's where that progress is behind. So I honestly think, I mean, now of course, we have some other contributing factors. I mean, with the crime in certain areas and the drug in other areas, the drug infestation. But you know, there's some parts of Wilmington where you won't have to worry about that at all. But it's sad because just the word Wilmington. I mean, trust me, my address is Wilmington. Like my address says Wilmington. And I mean, my neighborhood is pretty decent. I haven't had any problems over here or anything like that. But when I'm out with a consumer, with a buyer, and the very first thing I can tell, they say every time, I don't want to buy a house in Wilmington. It's just that, you know, it's that negative connotation that's attached to it. Unfortunately, man, it's you know. But the good thing about it, they're building Wilmington up, and I honestly think it's going to take a few more years before we get around that curve. But in a few years, you know, I honestly think Wilmington is going to be a great place to live. It's a great place to live now. You know, it's just still has that bad reputation. So excuse me for that, you know, if it was a misunderstanding. It's a great place to live. It's going to take years for that reputation to follow.
No. I totally understand. And what's crazy is that it's a young guy in my neighborhood. He's probably like 24, and he drives truck. And right now he's looking for a house. And I was telling him with him being young, he would want to get something that'll appreciate. And with him being single as well, I also was telling him maybe even thinking about getting a duplex to rent out the next rig, so that way he can actually pay his mortgage and so forth and so forth. But he was saying that I don't want to live in Wilmington, man. He was like, I've been in Newcastle all my life. You know
I hear it all
I know
the time.
what it is. And I was just telling him just the benefits of understanding that if you can ride that appreciation wave and what's going on as far as just looking into what's going on in certain cities. And one of the things I'm personally big on is the opportunity zones. One, because in my hometown in Seaford, they have opportunity zones as well. And with those areas in Laurel and Delmar and Bridgeville and things like that, it brings it to where it can bring appeal to people wanting to live back in those areas, in those communities.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you shed light on that as well.
And one thing that we need to do, not to kind of to spin off of what you said, is to bring knowledge to individuals what an opportunity zone is, or where those opportunity zones are located. Because like you and I can talk about this and we'll be like, yeah, you know what, it might make sense to make a purchase in one of those zones. But think about the typical first-time home buyer. Bro, they're scared out their damn mind. And they thinking like, yo, I'm happy I get to buy a house, but I do not want to live in Wilmington. That's it. I mean, because it's like it's a happy decision, but I mean, you pulling like the ultimate trigger as far as a first-time home buyer is considered. You know, there's so many misconceptions. You don't know. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm buying this house, I got to live here for 30 years. This is a 30-year mortgage. That's a big no-no. I mean, you can sell most of the time the next year or even 2 years after you purchase. Or rent it out and purchase another home, you know, if based on the program that you use to purchase this first home. So there's so many different ways to go, so many different avenues, man, that we can get involved in. But Wilmington, I think personally, is a great place to buy. Values, I do see increasing in the years to come as well.
One of the things I was gonna say is, and y'all touched on it about the Wilmington, is history.
There you go.
Do your history in Wilmington, right? Everybody thinks that when you think of Wilmington, it's automatically negative. But if you start doing your history and you start doing your own research, you understand that there are parts that are bad, and that's almost anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's parts of Newcastle that's bad. There's parts of Wilmington that's bad. There's parts of
Beverly Hills, brother,
wherever it is
Los
that you
Angeles.
go to. There's going to be bad. There's going to be bad areas. But if you start to figure out the places where there is value in Wilmington, you know what I mean? Then we talk about the appreciation value going up in Wilmington, because like you said, when you start to look at things, you look at downtown in Wilmington, downtown Market Street. You look at the historical places over south side of south in South Wilmington. You look at the historical places over in North Wilmington. Those values are actually there, and they're going up. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Baynard Park, they have the school over there, and you talk about all these places. There is value in Wilmington, and it's a hub for everywhere else. Like I can get right to Philadelphia right there. I can get right to on the Turnpike and get right to Jersey. So there is value in Wilmington. But again, you won't know that if you don't do your know your history, and if you don't do your own research.
Yes.
Yeah. So backtracking real quick. You
Yeah.
said something about 1099. And that sounded cool. Um, so my question was, how difficult or easy was it to transition, just physically and mentally, from a W-2 to a 1099 worker? And for all my people out there who don't know what we're talking about there, it's going from working for somebody to actually being your own independent contractor or self-employed, whatever it is that you want to call it. How difficult was that making that transition?
So the first 5 months of business, I actually, we automatically switched to 1099, but I was just using my name. It was just Raheam Porter. So I guess, I was still filing, I was collecting under my name. At, midway through that year, I actually went out and got with an individual. Cost me $275. I started an LLC, went to the bank, with all my documentation, walked out feeling big and bad. I had a debit card with my business name on it. So I've been a business owner now for a little over 2 years. It's my second year filing business taxes. Man, when I tell you, now there's a lot of follow-up involved, but minimal difficulty, and financially under $300. It cost me to get, just not even the 1099, but just to get the LLC set up. Mentally, I think was the hardest transition because, you got some, in real estate, we get some big, nice checks. I'm not gonna lie, we get some healthy checks, and you get a check for $5,000. You're like, no, it's $5,000, but it ain't really $5,000 because what happens is, around January, February, the end of the year, roll in, and we got filed taxes, and they want their money. so so that was the biggest adjustment to me. The first year I was in trouble. I'm not gonna hold you. Not really trouble, but I got to the point where I would get a check and I would just you got to learn how to budget, because you are like, if you work at Wawa, if you work at Bank of America, or if you work at TD, wherever, when you become a 1099 individual, you are TD, you are Wawa, you are. So there's no, hey, get up, you got to be to work at 9 o'clock, or if you don't get up, you don't get paid. If you don't go to work, you don't. It's pretty much, it has its gifts and its curse, so to speak. But I definitely I wouldn't turn it down for the world right now, and I advise anyone who's thinking to making that step to definitely do it.
That's one. Go to my. You guys have something?
No, go ahead. You good?
That's one of the things that we was talking about on behind the scenes. In our chat, where we were saying that I think that everybody has the ability, to be self-employed or to go out in there and be an entrepreneur, but everybody doesn't have the capacity to do it. And what I mean by that is, you have skill sets, you have all these things that we have to do it to go out there and to be that. But one of the things you said is you don't have the capacity to do it because you won't get up and do it, right? You won't get up and at 9 o'clock, or at 5 o'clock, when the work day should start, where I should get up and prepare myself mentally to go out there and be this business owner. I'm so used to actually punching the clock, right? Punching the clock to go in and I know I'm going to get that 9 to 5. I know I'm going to have that 9 to 5 security, and to I'm going to have those benefits where, like you said, I am the brand.
That's it.
I am it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I got to make sure I take care of my own taxes. I got to make sure that I go out there and file my own business. I got to make sure that I do my own stuff with my health benefits and everything like that. What would you tell somebody who is on the cusp of wanting
Glad
to
you said that.
be their own entrepreneur, but afraid to leave the security and comfortability behind?
Okay, so as most of us know, man, the biggest driving force that exists in this universe is fear. Fear is one of the biggest driving forces. So we're all afraid. We're all afraid that we're not going to be able to pay our mortgage. We're not going to be able to provide for our wives and our husbands and our children if we don't have that, that check at the end of the week. So the advice I would tell someone is, if you would only imagine how much of ourselves we give our employer. Just think about it for a second, for a split second. Kids could be sick, it could be raining, snowing, whatever. We're gonna try our damnedest to get to work because we don't want to make him or her or that company unhappy, because we don't want to be written up. So now take that now for a second. Imagine if we poured in 50% of that energy into yourself. 50% of that effort. I'm not even going to be greedy and say 80 to 90%, but just 50% of what you give your employer, you start working on your own business, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's lemonade, whether it's pudding, whether it's socks. I mean, I'm talking about just really put forth effort. I'm going to tell you what people do. They get a little bit of money. They might buy a couple shirts, sell 2 or 3 shirts. Then people stop buying them. Oh, my business failing, nobody's supporting. It's because they don't, you got to go hard. You got to go hard, and you can't expect that immediate return. Just provide that service, put good products out there, be honest, do the right thing. And I'm telling you, I don't care what you're selling or what you're doing. If you do the right thing and you do right by people, you're going to receive every blessing that's out there for you.
That's good. That's definitely good.
Just do it. You just got to do it, man. You know what I mean? Like, and as far as real estate, if you're on the cusp of wanting to become an entrepreneur, what I can say is just do it. Don't tell anybody. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Don't do. Don't tell anybody. Just do it, because people are gonna talk you out of it.
Hey, Raheam over here promoting Nike, man. He got the Nike
Let me
hat,
stop.
talking about
Let me
just
stop.
do it, man.
Let me turn it back. Let me turn it backwards, man. Let me turn it backwards. Just do it, man. That's what it's about, man. Just get it, man.
Nah, man, we appreciate it. Nah, you good. You can turn it back, man. You good.
Let me get that right.
Nah, but I know that there was some questions as far as the home buying process.
Yes.
I know there's some audience in here that's maybe looking to purchase a home as well.
Okay.
First off, one of the stigmas that you have erased as far as right now is that it's a good time to buy.
Yes.
What are I know that they have certain programs. You said programs that
Yes.
they may be with. What are the programs that are available for first-time home?
So for individuals living in Delaware, you can of course do your own research. I tell people to, I'm big on go to a professional when you want something of this magnitude done. But if you're just trying to do your own research, you can look up Delaware State Housing Authority. We call it DSHA, DSHA. They have a program in Delaware that provides up to 6% down payment assistance for a home buyer. And then based on who you're going to use for your pre-approval, they actually may have other programs, whether it be Newcastle County, First Front Door. These are additional programs that they can bundle with this DSHA money to actually help individuals that are buying in Delaware with their down payment. So that, $10,000 or $15,000 that you think you may need, you don't need. It's provided for you. Some of it you have to pay back with a interest-free loan, and some of it is actually grant money that, as long as you just meet this criteria and you follow this path, the money is there for you.
That's good. That's one of the things I was going to ask is,
yes,
what would you tell somebody who is fearful of wanting to buy their first home, but when they go to a mortgage lender, they say you need 20% down or whatever it is that you need down. But I think you touched on that to expel some of the fears that somebody may have.
Yes.
You have some, Biff?
Yeah, you had said something earlier about programs for buying rentals. Could you expound on that? On purchasing a home that you're going to use as a rental property? Do you have programs for that?
Well, yeah. So most of those programs are going to be honestly, as far as programs for buying rentals, that's going to be almost out of pocket costs. I mean, because most of the loans, FHA, VA, USDA. These programs are going to be for your primary residence. So most of the rentals that are, if you're looking to buy a rental and you're not going to live in it, I mean, there's probably going to be there's hard money lenders out there that will lend you cash based on your portfolio and things of that. But most of the individuals that are buying rental properties just for your portfolio, that those funds are going to come out of your own pocket. You know, I don't know of any typical programs in Delaware that'll lend you money to buy a rental. You know, so it's most of them do want them to be your primary residence, quote unquote. Had to throw that out there.
So if I were to do a FHA loan and then within the next couple of years, I want to purchase another house and then refinance that FHA loan into another loan and then get another FHA loan from a second home.
It's possible.
Okay.
It's definitely possible. There's so many different I mean, and they're not even tricks. I mean, these are things that we just don't know that we can do. I mean, you can purchase the FHA, you can use a loan to purchase the home, a FHA mortgage, and as long as the purchase makes sense on the second property, and what I mean by make sense is bed and bathrooms and price wise has to be slightly increased, and as long as your finances, your debt to income can support both mortgages, the loan will approve that, the bank will approve that mortgage for you. And sometimes if your DTIs are a little off, you know, that you can be kind of crafty and maybe rent that primary property out, you know, get a rental agreement to kind of write off that, you know, that mortgage, so to speak, and then you're able to finance your second property.
Bro, you dropped the gems. I ain't even have my notebook ready.
Listen, man, you got my contact information, buddy. You know, don't hesitate, man. And that's the thing, man. It's the knowledge, man. That's what we're lacking out here. We're lacking the knowledge, and we're lacking individuals who are willing to give the knowledge. You know, I don't want a dime for this. You know, anybody who wants to talk off the air, you know, at the end of this, if you guys okay with, I'll drop all my information. You guys can add me. I'll give this to you just live in the direct, man, because honestly, we have to pass this on. You know, I can't leave this earth with this knowledge that I have of the real estate market. I mean, and I have so much, you know, to learn, you know, but I was able to acquire some in these few years that I've been in business, and the knowledge that I do have is definitely beneficial for an individual getting into the real estate game or someone that's looking to buy or sell their property.
And
okay, now I got two questions.
Yes, sir.
One, are you familiar with like the commercial property process?
I have not myself completed a commercial transaction yet. I would love to get into it. I've had one or two individuals reach out and inquire about commercial property, but what I've heard, especially in Delaware, the commercial market is really like tight knit. So like if you in there, like the commercial agents are the commercial agents. You know, it's like, you know, where most of them, that's their realm. And, you know, most of the residential, which if you don't know, commercial, of course, is business oriented. Residential is a dwelling that an individual lives in, just for the audience. So my knowledge is, I would say primarily on the residential side.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
yeah, another question, Biv, or was that a follow-up question?
No, that was a follow-up question.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I don't know if they taught you that in school, but yeah, they said in Delaware, commercial is like, if you get in there, you golden, you good.
Yeah.
Like, but they said it's so tough and so hard to get in there because a lot of the big people got that thing on lock. You know what I mean? And you can't. And we ain't gonna make we ain't gonna name no names because we don't get paid by them people. But
Hey, y'all taught me stay in my lane, so I stays in my lane, brother. And commercial is not it at all. I mean, from the way everything is going, I mean, brick and mortar might be a thing of the past.
It's gonna be.
It definitely is.
As far as commercial, I definitely see it, unfortunately, leaning that way. I mean, we're always gonna need residential because, I mean, people are being buried. We always gonna need a place to live. But as far as commercial, once we enter this pandemic in the beginning of, you know, early March, you know, some businesses shut down and some business stayed open, but they stayed open, you know, kind of virtually, so to speak, and were able to still support themselves. So, you know, what T said was right, man. The brick and mortars may be a thing of the past, but you know, we still don't know. We're early in this thing, I say, as far as what's going on in the world. You know, so I guess we're just gonna play it by ear and see what direction this thing goes in.
I think you'll have some who still want that building, that allure of a building,
Yes.
because it says it speaks success. It looks like it's successful. You know what I mean? Then you have clients. I mean, just you can provide an atmosphere for clients to come in. But then you'll also have people like me. I mean, who just think like, man, listen, I don't want that overhead. I don't want that overhead. And if I can have that, if I can, I mean, do a video chat with my clients or partners and stuff like that, it just makes more sense to do that, where I can actually pay for better health benefits for my employees, or pay my employees more better salary. So
yes.
You got any?
I thought you had something.
Nah, you just froze up on me.
Cause I thought you was about to say something. I thought you had the question.
Nah, man, I need you to drop some gems.
Who, him or me?
Him. I need him to drop.
Yeah.
Listen, you didn't drop the F8, man. You listen.
Yeah, that's what I said, man. Listen, I ain't
trying to
listen. It's still recorded, so I'm gonna go back and look at it. Yeah, I mean, but I ain't have my notepad.
Well, listen, I just want to, you know, before I get too far gone, and I know a lot of individuals I just want to give people the steps to buy a house, man. You know, and I'm not really going to go in detail into each step. I'm just going to be general and just say, for anybody who wants.
Before you jump into it, Timon. I mean, Raheem.
Yep.
This is the point where you take your notes out, your notepad out, and start writing, because my man is about to walk you step by step on how to purchase a home. So if you're fearful and you're scared, he's going to walk you through those things to help you out.
All right. So before we get in, man, I just want to let you know that year to date. So my ultimate goal, and it's a little stretch, man. So my goal is to help 10,000 families become homeowners. Year to date, you know, I'm August 1st, I'll be 3 years in the business, and so far I've helped 47 families. So I'm a little far off, but we getting there. So the steps to home ownership. First step, call me. So all jokes aside. So the very first thing you want to do when you're getting close to, you know, saying, you know, hey, maybe I'm getting to renew my lease or whatever the case may be, or I'm tired of renting. Credit. We all have this huge misconception of where we need our credit to be. I'm not going to be all drawn out. Minimum requirements for FHA, and you qualify for the first-time homebuyer program in Delaware. I have to be specific because I know we might have some PA, some Maryland, or whatever buyers in Delaware for FHA loan, which is probably going to be 90% of what first-time homebuyers are going to use. You need a 620 score, be on your job 2 years, at least 2 years, even if it's not the same job, just be on a job for 2 years, and have filed taxes the last 2 years as well. That's pretty much just like the fuel, the starting, you know, okay. Like I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, you got to be on your job for 5 years. You got to have 10 years of this. None of that. That's all BS. Another, you have 3 credit scores. I can't tell you how much people call me and say, hey, my score is 700. You got 3 credit scores. You got TransUnion, you got Equifax, and you have Experian. These are the 3 different scores. In order to get approved for a mortgage, you need your middle score to be at least a 620. I'm going to give you a scenario. So if you got a 600, 650, 700, your score is a 650. It's whatever score sits in the middle. We need that score to be a 620 to get approved for that mortgage. So the very first step, you want to get with a loan officer. You can Google it. You know, you can just look up on Facebook loan officers in Delaware. There's tons of them. Meridian, Pike Creek Mortgage, John Thomas team. I mean, just there's so many of them out there that you can call. You want to get with that mortgage, and you want that loan officer, and you want to get a pre-approval. First step, getting pre-approved, right? Your second step, you want to get with a real estate agent. A lot of people go out there with a real estate agent first, and they start looking for homes. I call that window shopping. I mean, some people like window shopping. I don't. So you want to, in this order, you want to get that pre-approval. It's some few steps intertwined amongst that pre-approval, but that pre-approval is your first step. Second step, get with your realtor. You know, A lot of times people get to the real estate agent and they plug them in with the loan officer. These steps can be interchanged, nevertheless. Once you get your credit right, the loan officer and your real estate agent, after you get with the real estate agent and you have that pre-approval, we now are ready to start shopping for homes. So the pre-approval is based on where you want your monthly payment to be. Okay. So if you're paying $1,000 in your rental right now, you probably feel comfortable with $1,100 mortgage payment. So you're going to tell a loan officer $1,100. He's going to approve you based on where you want your monthly payment to be. A lot of times you can go higher than that, but you'll get into $1,400, $1,500, sometimes out of your price point. So your pre-approval, your real estate agent, we're going to start shopping for things that are in your price range. And you pretty much tell me your wish list. I always ask clients to tell me their wish list. And what I mean by wish list, I need to know your beds, bathrooms, your locations. You can be as anal or as general as you possibly want. Anal, what I mean by, some people say, oh, I want the window facing east or whatever the case may be. I'm sure we won't find that, but again, you can be as anal or as general as you possibly want when you're telling your realtor what you're looking for in a home. Once you're under contract with your particular property that your agent submits an offer on, you're going to do a home inspection to make sure to check any safety or any major defects are found in that property. Your real estate agent will then draw up an addendum. An addendum is a contract that makes the changes to the initial contract, and we then can ask for repairs to be completed. Roof repairs, plumbing, whatever the case may be. After the home inspection, we get to the appraisal. Appraisal is where an individual from the bank comes out to make sure that your property is worth what the bank is lending you. After that, the loan goes into underwriting. Underwriting takes anywhere from 3 to 7 days. We get an approval, we settle. This whole process takes 30 to 45 days. It's not a 6-month or 8-month process. A good loan officer and real estate agent can close a loan in 30 days, but the typical is a 45-day transaction from start to finish. You got your keys at the end.
That's some good gems that you just walked us through, man. Some good stuff you just walked us
through. It's a lot more, man. I try not to go off on these tangents, man, with it, but it's not rocket science. There's few steps. You can count them with your hand. Once this step, you move to the next and the next. You get close to the finish line. We meet at the settlement table. You sign your documents, and you get rewarded with your keys to your new home.
Cool. Tim, you have something?
Sounds pretty simple. I mean,
you know what, brother? It's any loan officer probably is going to tell you it's not simple, but it really is, brother. I mean, it's not. The first few transactions were extremely difficult, solely because I didn't know what I was doing. But it's a repeatable thing. It's not. Now you're going to get hit with spin-offs and dodgeballs, so to speak, but the steps are repeatable. You still do this the next time. You still do this, and you just kind of follow through.
Well, just piggybacking off of that, just Dwayne has duly noted that I'm a nerd, so I like to look deeper into things.
Give it to me.
So we're all in this millennial generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the stats is that it is the lowest as far as the generation to purchase a house between the ages of 20 to 29, right? It's like at 20% to own their first home. And then it's actually lower, it's lower between 30 to 36. But that's all the stat could go by, because of course the older ones, we're in that close to 40 age. But nonetheless, what do you think that some advice that you would give to young people coming up in generation, I guess Z it is, of how vital it is to purchase their home early, so that way they can use that vehicle to obtain wealth within their family?
Yes. So I think it's extremely vital, man. And honestly, renting is something that's supposed to be extremely short-lived. We just get caught and we get comfortable renting because we feel as if we don't have responsibility. oh, I'm not responsible for this house because I'm renting in the house, but I mean, your interest rate on a rental is 100%. So every dollar that you put in is gone. You ain't getting nothing out of it. I don't give a damn who you are. But but just look at it like this. I tell people, your house, once you have it, once you have a mortgage, you're living inside your bank account. If you hit, unfortunately, you on hard times, and you've been in the house for 3, 4, 5 years, there's a thing called an equity loan or equity line that a lot of individuals don't know that you can actually go and access, and a bank in today's market would lend you 80% loan to value. So what that means is, if you have, and I'll just give you simple numbers, if it's a house for $100,000 and you have your mortgage paid down to say $50,000, you have $50,000 worth of equity in that property, a bank will lend you 80% of that $50,000. So you can possibly walk away with, say, $30,000, $35,000, and your interest rate be extremely small. And you still own your home. Nothing changes. You have a small payment on that equity line or loan. You can then take those funds to purchase what my homie said earlier, that rental property or that boat, or whatever the case, making improvements on your primary residence. The possibilities are endless, man.
So you tapped into a little bit of one of the questions that we had on here. The top 3 pros and cons of being a renter versus a homeowner. You know what I mean? So outside of the ones you gave us, do you think, what are your top 3 pros and cons?
Pros and cons. So, con of being a homeowner, but I'm gonna give you a con, but I'm gonna give you a pro with it. So con is you're responsible for the maintenance. The pro is they have home warranty products that you can purchase that people know nothing about. You can purchase a home warranty. You can, even for if you guys own your home, you can purchase a home warranty for $525, right? This home warranty covers all the major appliances in your home: HVAC, hot water heater, dishwasher, all your major appliances. You can even get as extreme to cover your roof, your electrical for only pennies more on the dollar. So let's say for $700, you can have the whole house covered for a year. And God forbid, if you have something that needs repairs, you pay $70 and they come out and repair or replace your item. So of course you're responsible for the maintenance, but there are products and I'm sorry, I had a call coming through. There are products out there that can help out with that. As far as pros of ownership, you get a tax break when you go to file your taxes. All the interest that you paid in for that year, you get that money back from Uncle Sam. So when you first purchase a home, say if you normally get $2,000 back, for your taxes. When you file, but you pay $2,000 worth of interest into your mortgage, you can actually file and get that money back. So now that $2,000 that you were getting is now $4,000. You can do that every year that you own your home.
Oh shoot!
Yep.
Dang.
You just got to take your mortgage statement over to your tax preparer, and she'll be able to calculate all the interest that you paid for that year, and she can ask the government to pay you that money back.
Listen, that's definitely a pro.
Yeah, that's a big pro. Another pro, man. It's your house. You can do what you want. I had a guy that just purchased a home for me recently. He called me and said, "Hey, man, can I paint?" And I started laughing, and I was, I looked the same way, and I was like, I said, "Yeah, man, that's you, bro. You can do whatever." I said, "Man, you can paint that shit lime green if you want to, man." I said, "Look, he said, "They ain't gonna come in and say no." I said, "Look, that's your property. You own it." And that's the biggest pro. We all know with rentals, we're subject to what the owner, of that property, the landlord, and speak, we got to run things by him. Can I do this? Can I hang this picture here? Oh, this is leaking. Can you come and fix it? So, we're kind of at the mercy of other individuals, man. So, personally, of course, I'm going to push home ownership. I think is great. You own what you, and then if something should happen with employment, you want to relocate, or your family increases or decreases, you're not glued to that property. You can put your house on the market at any time. Trust me, in today's market, within 10 days, if it's priced right, it would sell immediately. You can purchase your next home. I mean, I know of individuals now who've on their third or fourth home, and they're still within that 30 to 40 age group.
One of the things that I heard when you said, man, is freedom.
Yes.
You said when the dude called you or the individual called you, he said, "Can I paint my house?" You feel me? That spoke to me volumes to me, because that spoke to being a slave mentality, meaning that
Oh, geez, you went deep, bro. Go ahead.
He
You went real deep. He said a slave
he
mentality.
went deep.
Go
Let me
ahead, though.
get my water. Let me get my water.
I'm a slave though, right? Because I've been doing this thing for so long that now when I transition over, it's like a mentality. My mentality has to shift. My mentality has to change.
Yes.
I don't know if I can paint because I've been doing this thing for so long. But when you buy, home ownership means freedom to me. I mean, it's freedom. That's another one of the pros is freedom. It's yours. I can do whatever I want. I could punch holes in the wall if I want. You know what I mean? I can do whatever it is that I want to this house. You know what I mean? And then like you said,
that's depreciation.
I gotta replace that.
Yeah,
I
that's
gotta deal with the consequences on that. Hey, listen, you paint that thing lime green, it could be depreciation depending on.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So, but yeah, that's what I heard when you were saying it, man. Is just freedom. Like I'm no longer bound or enslaved to this thing. You know what I mean? But now I have freedom to do whatever it is that I want when I purchase my own home, because I do own this thing to an extent.
And I'll add this. Honestly, I think everyone, and I'm not even gonna just keep this male, we just general. I think everyone wants to own a house, or everyone wants to own. The thing is, we just all don't believe we're capable to do so. It's just for individuals who may be on attached to the system, whether Section 8 or welfare. They got programs, Section 8 to home ownership, where they'll help you transition into that. So I think my biggest thing, honestly, was just was kind of just pouring into my clients or my customers at the time, and just because even once you get approved, that don't necessarily mean that you believe that you're gonna be able to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? Where because some people just always think things are gonna go wrong. Like, oh Lord, how much money I'm gonna need, or this ain't good. No, it's no way I'm gonna get approved for it because nobody in my family bought a house. And it's just breaking those generational curses, man. So honestly, I think once we believe internally, and not just we can take this past real estate, whatever you going after, I don't care what you're trying to do in life, what goal you trying to achieve, or where you trying to get, you gotta believe it. You gotta believe that I can acquire this. People told me that test was hard, I wasn't gonna do it. And I believe, like, nah, I'm gonna do this, man. And I failed the first time, but I went back. I went right back 2 days later and I passed it. So anything that you want to do, man, you believe in yourself, man, and stay positive and manifest it into reality, man. Before you know, you be living in it, man. I never would have thought, bro, never. And not to overtalk, God willing, I'll be 36 years old in September. Bro, I work from home, man. I get to see, I got a 1-year-old baby boy, man, that turned, God bless, my son turned 1 on Friday, man. And I get to see him every day. I get my hair standing up on my arms talking about it. I never thought that I would have been able to provide for my family the way I'm able to provide, and then do it not attached to a corporate infrastructure. That's the biggest thing, man. Like that when I go to the bank and they say, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Porter?" I don't know, man, D, but bro, it do something to me, man. It does, man, because I'm like, and I'm able to just tell my kids that, I have a little small lawn and landscape company. I cut a few yards here and there. I really do it for my son, just to show him I want to get him early in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And he remains humble at the same time, because if you cut grass before, that's not no easy work. But nevertheless, man, it's just staying positive, man, and keeping your nose down. And I don't care what happens, man. Just stay positive, bro, and you'll get to the finish line every time.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Tim.
Hey man, I'm gonna take from your slave mentality the freedom that it seems like Raheem has.
Freedom. Oh
He
yeah,
he
yeah.
looked like he broke them chains. But no, just
I had
go
to,
ahead.
man. I had to, bro. I I always loved working, but at the same time, I always would get into it with management
Mhm.
because they would I don't know if they would get that little power ego going on, and they want to crack the whip when they want to crack the whip, and I had one manager that was on me because you're saying that instead of 15-minute break, I was taking 16-minute break. I'm like, damn man, come on man, really? And when I got, listen, you laughing because it's probably true because we all done been there, man, and it just got to the point where I say, you know what, screw this. I want to start helping how I want to help, to the level I know I'm able to, and do it without any boundaries, man. I still got boundaries because there's rules and regulations, but nevertheless, the freedom is definitely out there, and I'm able to provide for my family, man.
Listen, man, I know how that's like, man. Dom used to be my manager, so he was my manager at Verizon. But but nah, one of the things that you touched on is big, is with the freedom and having the time to spend with your family.
Yes.
And exchanging that time of using that 50% that you would use with your employer and put it into yourself. I was listening to this was like a while ago, but J. Cole had an interview with Angie Martinez, and this was J. Cole before the dreads.
Okay.
And one of the things that he was saying was like it didn't appeal to him of how I'm exchanging this 1 hour for an amount of money that I can't get back. You know what I mean? And that was one of the things that drove me to try to do my own thing, not necessarily because I've always had it in me to be an entrepreneur,
Yes.
to just own my own, but just the more that I grew up and now having a family and just understanding the family dynamic of seeing different moments in life as far as going to my daughter's recitals or daughter's basketball game, or seeing what my son does as far as his math and everything, just seeing those moments that I would miss if I were working a 9 to 5. Or me and my wife was just talking about how when I was working, I think from like 1 to 11 or something, and she would wake up and go to work, and I would be asleep, and then come home, I'm
It's
gone.
terrible, man.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
it was an imbalance that it was taking a toll. You know what I
Yes.
mean? But just that freedom of being able to do your own thing and go out on your own is one of the things that I'm personally pushing to any and everybody. Is that it's great to have your own, and it's great to be put it together and have a common unity and put it together and make a community. So
Yes.
I'm definitely
Yes.
big on
Well,
that, man.
I
So
like how you
congratulations
put
on
that,
that.
man. Appreciate it, brother.
I
If
want
you
to
had
talk
something,
investing, but
Yeah,
it's itching me, but we only got 10 minutes.
yeah, I
Um,
know, I know.
uh, so well, since Dom ain't saying nothing,
oh
Biv
no,
ain't saying nothing.
listen. Okay, so let me ask you two questions. Then you can
Give it
knock
to me.
out investments. All right. So, one of the things I wanted to say is, or ask you is, why do you think entrepreneurship is not taught in school?
Good question. That's probably the best question of the show. Not to knock any other questions. It's not taught because they know it's the true direction to be successful. And I hate to say that. The reason being, it's the possibilities are endless. Nobody can tell you what your salary is. There isn't. I mean, your salary is what you say it is. If you want to make $950,000 this year, and you're willing to do $950,000 worth of work, you're gonna get that $950,000. Where at Bank of America, you could do $1,000,000 worth of work, and your ass get and
Make
your ass getting that
60,000.
your ass getting that 16 an hour. You
Yep.
know, so that's I mean, and that's a real straightforward answer. It's and not even make it the financial aspect. It's just let's just go back to freedom. I mean, like they don't teach it because they kind of want you to be. They want to guide you into the workforce. They want it because if you're working, where you're putting into society as far as taxes, you're putting into retirement. They want us to hopefully, and I hate to say this, but the goal is to to get you to that. I mean, it goes back to the 1920s when we go back to like the, Henry Ford, the Ford Motor Company, that production line. They want you to work 40 years, retire, you're gonna live a few more years. After that, unfortunately, you're gonna die off from poor health. So that mentality has still been, it's still been kind of babysat and taught in today's upbringing. I didn't even, not to knock anybody in college. I went to college, but I dropped out of college. I graduated high school May 25th, 2002. I went to college for 2 years, 2.5 years for mechanical engineering. I got tired of school. I said to hell with it, and I dropped out. And
you got tired of school.
Yeah, I got tired
of me.
Yeah. I got tired of it, and I was tired of being broke, bro. I was tired of being broke. I wanted to work. I wanted to work. I luckily got a pretty good job at an engineering plant, sweeping the floor. I was a janitor, but hey, nevertheless, it got me to where I am today. But they don't teach entrepreneurship because you cannot be herded as an entrepreneur. Not to say that the average W-2 employee is cattle, but if they say, hey, you work at 9, you're gonna be there at 9. Mm-hmm. As an entrepreneur, it's if I ain't working today, I ain't working today.
Hey, listen,
I ain't gotta ask nobody.
Definitely understand that, especially when the point you're talking on, man, when you were saying you can do $1 million worth of work
and you ain't gonna receive that pay
and only make like I'm that's my life. You know what I mean? Like I built businesses. That's what I've been doing. You know what I mean? I built businesses, built other people's businesses. You know what I mean? So I built $1 million business and they pay me $100,000. You know what I mean? When I'm doing, you know what I mean, $1 million work, $1 million work. You know what I mean? So it got me in that mindset of, well, I can build a business. You know what I mean? So why not just start doing my own thing, because I've been doing this, you know what I mean? But I'm not getting paid for my abilities. I have the abilities, but like
I told you.
What'd you say?
I told you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what to do, D. It's called R&D, man. Rip off and duplicate. Whatever you're trying to do, find someone in that specific field who's already successful. Whether it's whether you're trying to be a singer, a lawyer, a realtor, a construction, whatever. Research and finding it. That's what I did. When I wanted to be a successful real estate agent, I found a successful real estate agent and I copied everything they did.
Mm-hmm. Good.
It's called R&D, rip off and duplicate. It's been going on for generations.
Ain't
nobody that walked this earth is original. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of people, if you even ask for their help, they'll give it to you. They'll give you the formula. I'll give anybody the breakdown of where I got, of where I started and where I am now. I still have a long way to go, but I can definitely see the gap from where I came from.
I'm gonna tell you, I throw this out there. I got 7 steps, 7 principles that I live by to help build success and help build success. And it's simple. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple step, simple process, and it spells the word student. If you spell the word student, and look at the word student, that's my principle. Yeah, I mean, that I live by. Yeah, I mean, and it's study. It's to train, and that means to train yourself to understand how to apply what you're studying and what you trained yourself to do. And then once you follow those 3 steps, study, you train yourself, and you understand how to apply it. Then you just go out there and do it. And then from there, you evaluate what you've done. Yeah, I mean, is it growing good fruit or bad fruit? You notice that, and then you start to teach other people. So like what you just said.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said was just rip off and duplicate. It's just being a student. Yeah, I mean, if I continuously being a student in life and I apply those principles, then you'll be successful. One of the questions
Dami Lama is back.
He's back.
Dami Lama is back.
He's back in effect. I love it.
But listen, I'm gonna ask this one question. I'm gonna let Tamon jump right into the
Man, ain't nothing to jump into, man. It's 3 minutes.
But listen, so I think successful people have rituals or have things that they do on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So what are some of the successful things or the rituals that you go through, that you've done, or that you go through, that you do? You know what I mean?
Like voodoo?
To show yourself success. No voodoo, but some.
Okay.
Some
rituals. I'm messing. Go ahead.
Some successful people do voodoo. You know what I mean? So
don't mind me.
Mine are weird, man. Mine are weird, and they're not really that far-fetched, man. I'm gonna tell you, and this is what I've been doing for years, man. Don't wait on that alarm clock, man.
Yes.
I don't use alarm clock. I haven't. And the first thing you do in the morning is drink water. That's my biggest ritual. It ain't nothing special. I don't got no crazy thing that I go. I'm a real simple, humble dude. I grew up in the South, so me and my cousins used to throw pecans at each other in the backyard, so I'm one of those, I'm one of them type guys. But wake up early, positive attitude, and if you married or if you have a spouse or something like that, don't never, if you we all get in things, never go to sleep angry, and always tell your spouse you love them before you leave the house, brother, and you be good to go, man.
Good stuff. That's good stuff, man. One of the things if ritual, like you said, man, is what I hear about a lot of successful people. You talk to a lot of successful people, is waking up early. They
wake up early. That's my biggest. That's my and it's literally my Brandy always says, because it's weird, because as soon as I open my eyes, I get up. Like it's almost like instantaneous. And my daughter's the same way. I'm on 1,000 like in the morning, like first thing, bro, and like I gotta come downstairs, because if not, I wake everybody else up. My wife and the kids, they sleep late. This has been like the longest summer we ever had in history. So so they all like on summer mode, but I get up, I open the blinds, I water my plants, man, and I go outside, drink me some water, and I try to get that first sun, man. I like that vitamin D, man. Just give thanks, man, for another opportunity.
Good. That's good. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Listen, I enjoyed all this, man. Listen, you got some time, man, to get.
I got 90 seconds. All right.
Talk to me.
But I just want you to I'm a big proponent on real estate investing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want you to expound on how important it is, in your opinion, on how us as a community of African Americans should come together as far as investing in real estate, and why. And I just
it's huge, man. It's huge that we come together as a people, because I'm not sure if you guys notice, especially speaking to the African American viewers, we have the biggest buying power in the world. It's not even in Delaware. It's not even in the United States. In the world, we have the biggest buying power. Meaning collectively, we come together with the most money to acquire the most stuff. Unfortunately, we're acquiring stuff, junk. I put everything in two columns: assets and liabilities. And I urge every client, every viewer of this, I can't see how many people are on. I want you to get a piece of paper after this, sometimes tonight or in the next couple of days, draw out two columns: assets and liabilities. Everything that you own, I need you to put in those two columns. And if your liability column is lopsided, you need to get to work. We need to acquire assets. The definition of the two: an asset is anything that makes you money. A liability is anything that costs you money. If you drive your car at Uber and you make more than you pay for your car, it's an asset. If you have a car and you pay a monthly payment every month and that's it, it's a liability. So that's just what the two of them are. But as far as the buying power, it's just that we have the power. We just need to switch platforms and stop making these hair owners and these individuals with these clothing lines and these individuals selling these vehicles. We're making them filthy rich, and at the end of the day, we're still left in their property because that we're renting from them. So we literally just have to become knowledgeable and first know that we're able to purchase a property. You're able to buy, and if you're not able to buy, get your cousin. You can have 3 or 4 people on a loan. If you make this amount an hour and you make this amount an hour and you got this credit score and you got this credit score, hey, we're all going. That's the thing. They do that, and the thing is, we have to just stop, trying to, and I tell people, other ethnicities, they stay home until they're ready to buy. We want to kick our kids out because for whatever reason, we want our house to ourselves, or we want our kids to go out there and experience the real life. We need to stop doing that. We need to keep our kids home and educate them and help them financially until they're ready to buy. I don't care if they're 30 years old. Keep your kids with you and help you. Trust me, that's what those other races do. Those kids stay home until they're ready to buy. If they're ready to buy at 21, then we're going to buy at 21. If not, then we're going to get you to the point. So, I just think we need to just change our family dynamic, as far as how we're And our parents aren't educated because some of our parents rent. And I'm not knocking that. My dad just bought his first house. He's 56 years old. He live in Rob Scott Manor right now. He rented his whole life. He bought through me, and he had that same mentality. As long as I got a place to live, I'm good. I mean, he lived in New York his whole life, so but moved here. I'm in the business. Pops, come on, we need to do this. Now he owns. It's just a mentality shift that needs to transpire, not amongst individuals, but amongst the community as a whole. So I'm hoping hopefully this video goes viral and there's millions of viewers, man, because we just need to become knowledgeable and first know. I don't care if you buy with me or Joe Smo or whoever. You know what I mean? Just get the knowledge, and trust me, man, the possibilities are endless. If you work every day and you pay rent, excuse my language, your ass could buy a house. Period. And I had to say it like that because it's literally that serious. Even if you're not ready now, you will be. And that's the thing. It's the thing I love about credit, and I'm not gonna keep going. Credit is not a life sentence. It's probationary. If you mess up, probation ends at some point. You know what I mean? It'll bounce back. And the thing is, when it bounces back, we just need to be educated and know what to do.
Yo, my man talked a lot, said a mouthful, man. A mouthful. Just off of what you just said, right? And I know we got to wrap up the show. But I was just talking to my wife about just what you just said about culturally and how we view things, man. Where 18, we either as a culture, we either want to kick our kids out or our kids automatically want to go,
and we let them.
And like you said, and we let them. I was just reading something today.
Right there.
I was reading today in the Bible. You know what I mean? And it was saying how my man Isaac didn't marry until he was 40, and he didn't leave the house until he was 40. Right?
40 years old. Ain't
he
that
was.
Something?
He sat underneath.
I don't know about that, bro.
Listen.
I don't know about that, bro.
You don't know about what?
I'm not 40 now, and me. Hey, I love my mama. I love my daddy. I got to go, bro.
But that's our culture. But that's what I'm saying. That's our culture. That's our culture. So, like I said, I had the same mentality. Like, man, I can't wait till my kids get 18. They go. But now, as I get older and I get more wide wisdom, and I start to want to set my kids up for success, I'm like, listen, if my kids, as long as I can provide and I can have them under my roof and I can continuously empower them, I'm gonna keep them. Yeah, I mean, if they're not ready, and Cole has this mentality. This is where I started to get it from, where she's saying as long as I can provide for them, and they're not ready, why am I kicking them out? If they're not ready,
who's really ready? Who's really ready? Who statistics show between that period of 18 to 25, though that's the time frame where two things happen. A, in the African American community, we tend to get records. We tend to get incarcerated, unfortunately, and B, that's the period of time where we tend to mess our credit up. Not even just speaking race wise. And that's the period where they jack the credit up.
I'm an example.
We all are. We all are
because it's not education.
But see, it's predatory because these credit card providers know that you're 19. They know that you don't know nothing. They know you got that job at Foot Locker, and they know that, hey, if we get that card, you're gonna use it. And they send them out because credit companies they become millionaires. They become filthy rich off the back of individuals that don't have knowledge and know about interest rates. I mean, you get them Jordans. Yeah, you can get that. You can go buy whatever you can buy whatever you want. You know what I mean? But we got to make those payments, and they have to be on time. And that's where we all fall short, missing those late payments, and then it starts that vicious cycle. Oh, I'll pay you next week. Next week turn to next year, and so forth.
Mondawmin Mall got all my credit. Shout out to Mondawmin Mall, man. In Baltimore City, man.
But it's knowledge. It's knowledgeable. It's being knowledgeable, and one, it has to start with us as individuals and as Black men and as parents and fathers and whatever it is. We have to be more knowledgeable to the point where if we're knowledgeable, we can pass that down to our kids. And not to keep piggybacking off what Raheam said is other races, other ethnicities, other cultures, they don't do that. They keep their kids. They can be 30 in their house, you know what I mean, and building, you know what I mean. And then when we talk about other cultures, they come over here, use the resources that they have, build what they can, and then send it back to the places that they are. Yeah, I mean, it's just culturally, and we
Yes.
need to get to in that mindset of building up our culture and building
Yes.
up our community. And we aren't doing that. But I'm glad that Raheem mentioned that. That's where we need to start there. Is stop kicking our kids out just because we feel as though that they're 18, or they're 20, or whatever the age they are, and we feel as though they're ready. When in all actuality, the age of maturity doesn't really kick in or start until 30. If we're
I think so.
being honest. So I agree wholeheartedly agree with what Raheem said. So this is the part of the show, man, where we give our final thoughts before we wrap up. I'm gonna let my man Raheem kick off because he is our guest. If you have any final thoughts that you want to give out there to the people.
First off, man, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. Just for me to get my message out there across, man. Hopefully, this empowered someone, even if it's one person, man. I feel like my job was done. The platform, you guys putting this together, just to have a place where we can just air it out, so to speak, man. I think this is something that we need more of, especially amongst us men. And just as far as real estate as a whole, man, I can't urge enough, man, how important it is just the ownership, man, the ownership feature. There's so many different factors that come into place. All those misconceptions, those negative misconceptions, those are typically from individuals who've maybe tried the process and was not successful. Because if you don't complete something, you're gonna have everything in the world negative to say. But needless to say, man, if you guys need my assistance, please add me on Facebook, Raheam Porter, Raheam Porter, or feel free to message me directly. My contact number is 843-240-2836. I thank you guys, man. I love y'all brothers, man, just for giving me a little time, man, to speak, bro.
Thank you, definitely. Biz, you got some final thoughts for me, buddy?
Yeah, I just want to thank Ryan for coming on here, man. Appreciate it, bruh. Again, we're gonna get your information. We're gonna put it on the page, man. Make sure everybody gets access to that so they can reach out to you if they have any questions. Reach out to you if they have any business for you. Because at the end of the day, you are still a businessman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you again for coming on, brother. Good luck to you.
Appreciate it, man. Bless.
Go ahead to mine.
I'm glad I get to go before Dami Lama because I know he's gonna have some words. He's gonna have some words of wisdom. But like I said, I'm gonna do as a collective. Greatly appreciate you joining us. Definitely dropping some jewels, gems, and I'm gonna have to get with you about South Carolina.
Yeah.
You're talking about $100,000, bro. Listen, I'm trying to see what the investment properties look like.
Cheaper than that, man. Cheaper than that.
Hey, all right. I'm gonna rap with you, man.
We could talk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So one of the things that stood out to me, man, with everything that's going on, we talk about fear, we talk about entrepreneurship, everything that was talked about on the show. The one thing that stood out to me is knowledge. One of the reasons that we stay stuck, one of the reasons that we don't move on the things that we want to move on is because of lack of knowledge. Yeah, I mean, one of the words says that my people are perished because they the lack of knowledge, right? So we're fearful. That keeps us bound because we're not knowledgeable enough to move forward. We're not knowledgeable enough to buy the home or to start the business or I mean to just get out there and want to do things on our own, or knowledgeable enough just to keep our kids home to to until they're ready, right? So that's one of the things that stood out to me. So my final thought of the day of the show is knowledge is power, and that's real. That's I know it's cliche, but it's real. Knowledge. The more knowledgeable you are in a situation or in an area, the more power you have. So instead of allowing fear to keep us bound, let's be more knowledgeable in that area so that way we can move forward in that area. And that's my final thought for the day. That's my final word for the day.
And get your freedom papers.
Yeah, and get them freedom papers, man. Get them freedom papers. You can't be enslaved. Listen, knowledge is what sets you free. That's what sets you free.
Yes, sir.
Knowledge is what sets you free. But y'all know what it is. Y'all know we end the show the same way. If y'all like the show, share it. Let your friends know. Reach out to Raheem if you have any real estate questions. Go to our YouTube. Like us on YouTube. Like us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. And as always, Check us out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on Facebook Live. Where we're gonna be discussing something culturally, something that's gonna give you awareness, something sports related. But until next time, y'all know what it is. Yo, speak on it.